Okay, let's look at these scripts kind of in depth real quick. Our first one, I just took you should already have this bar with all the scripts on it. And we'll go to the first one, Anycam. It just takes regular cameras. You select regular cameras from a list, give it a name, Cam 1, and create the animation. So now what you have is an animation 1, 2, 3 going through each of those cameras. This helps if you're wanting to do a rendering and you just want to select one camera. So we can go here. You can see that this now goes through each of those cameras. Likewise, the Anycam V-Ray just does V-Ray cameras only. So Cam 2, create animation, goes through all those through there, which are 4, and does the exact same thing, and it keeps all your settings. Okay, now on Cam to V-Ray, this takes a regular camera and makes it into a V-Ray camera. Keeps your old one, and you got a new V-Ray camera, which has the same settings as your other camera. A little bit wider angle, but you can adjust that. Next, a nice good thing is distance. Now there is already a distance in tools. It's measured distance way down here, but what mine has is, let's go into, come on. So now if we go to distance, select distance, it's also going to give us what the regular measure distance gives, delta x, y, and the overall distance. But what we have now is a rotation value of that angle that we just clicked on, and a delta xy, so it's just in the xy plane, so you don't get the entire distance. So that's nice and handy to have. Now pivot snap is just so you can do that same click and put your pivot wherever you want it, which is just handy and easy. It's hard to just kind of go to your settings and change that. Now coordinate ang is a very interesting one, which makes it easy to move something in a particular direction. Now what it does is you get your points, 2 points, and it changes, it makes a dummy, and it changes your direction so it goes in those 2 points. So you do your X or Y, and so it's with anything. So you can pick out whatever 2 points you want, and if you uncheck it, that goes away and it gets rid of that dummy. So that's very, very handy to have. Okay, next we have matte wire, which is good if you've imported something and it's all one color, the wire colors. So if you want to just click that, it goes by material and just changes the material or the wire color of it. Now matte object select, it's very simple, just selects whatever your current slot is, do that, and it just selected everything that was on that material. And that's a multi-subject object, so it got all those. Now building is just a quick and easy thing just to build building shapes. A lot of times you'll have these in a plan or something and you just bring them in and they don't have any height to them. So if we click on building right here, there's some presets. We're going to use that one. So you can do the wall width, roof thickness, and the parapet height, and the height of the building. And what you have to do is it works off the spline. So you need to go to your spline level and select your spline and just do it, and it makes a building. Or you can select several of them and do it that way. Simple, easy kind of script. Now next we have slicing, which this will slice something at your given angle. 2-point click, and it puts a slice modifier on that object that you have selected. And that's just real handy if you're trying to cut a section through a grid line or something like that. Now, what we have is move to surf. Now this is just what it says it does. Select your objects. And we say move to surf, and then you pick your surface. So pick that, and it moves them all down to that surface object. Now you can use the object paint, which is probably the preferred way to do something if you got a lot of stuff to put in. So if you had that, you could just paint whatever you have selected on there. But if your plane moves, they're not going to move with it, and that's where it comes in handy. Unless you just want to, object paint everything again. So then you just move them back down to the surface. Okay, replacer is just a subplanetary. Places one object with another object. So we have this building. You can pick a single object, pick the object to replace with. This is just going to be a single object. And do rotation position, make it an instant, delete originals. And it moved it, I think. But that's essentially, it's pretty simple. Someone else wrote this one, I believe, so I think I modified it. Merge mesh. It's just an easier way to merge objects. So if you just select your objects and hit merge mesh, merges them all in one. Now, render mask is a cool one, especially if you're going to do Photoshop compositions and stuff. So let's go to the camera. And I have an object here. It's kind of in the way. What you do is you say render mask. I usually leave these the same, but usually keep opacity map. If something has an opacity map, you want to keep that. And you can play around with these other ones, but this is mainly what I use it for. So now, if you hit render, sorry, not render. Let me get this off. Jink. Okay, now if you just hit render mask, instead of going through that process, it's going to give you a black and white image of whatever you have selected. So it'll cut out all this, so you can just bring this in and use it as a mask in Photoshop, which is real handy, and it's quick, fast, and easy to do it that way. So same thing if you had these people back here, if you can see me clicking on those, and you use those as your render mask. You just get the people and they'd have whatever cut through that's not selected. So that's a real quick and easy tool to use. Okay, last thing I want to show you is the terrain tool. So what we're going to do is I have it on my off the screen here. Let's get them there. And I'm just going to pull it over into this, and it'll execute it. And this is what this looks like. So if we have our lines here, our contour lines, let's go ahead and go and add a terrain to it. So we make a terrain out of it. And you notice it's all kind of all triangulated and everything. Now what this does, so I'm going to just keep it 24. If you preview grid, you'll preview what it's going to try to produce. And then pretty much all you need to do is hit this, and it creates this nice mesh that's very easy to cut, it's very easy to deal with, It looks a lot better, doesn't get in the way of stuff. And this I have selected as a line, which cuts out through this. And if you change this line and you reprocess it, works just fine. So that's essentially that. And this, if you select it, it's something that's persistent, and you can turn this off and see it. And so when you select this, and if you process again, say if we go down more, process it, it picks it up, doesn't create another one, just fixes it for you. Alright, that's essentially all these tools. I hope they help you out and everything. So if you have any questions, you can contact me. Hopefully the link works. If not, they're in my public drive under MaxScript. So use them if you can.